Hello, I'm James Helder. Welcome to another special episode of Not For The News here on Pitch Football. As always, I am joined by my esteemed colleagues, Leon Knight and Curtis Woodhouse. Fellas, I hope this finds you both good and well and raring to go. What's happening, Knighty?
What's happening?
You all good, Case?
Yeah, very well, mate. Looking forward to this show.
Good.
Curtis, how's the dog, mate?
Oh, mate.
Go on,
Honestly, how I have managed to stay out of jail this week, only God knows. Can you hear him now in the background?
I'm gonna muzzle that thing, Curtis. It sounds a bit vicious, to be fair.
Muzzle it. Let's stick it on the barbecue, mate.
Knighty, I've got to say, I love your style. Rolling up to the shows looking like Darth Vader. I've got time for that. Got a bit of time for that, I'm not going to lie. Boys, let's go straight in on Chelsea Football Club. Suffered yet another defeat last night against the hands of Fulham. Joao Felix on his debut, seeing the red card. Wow. When things are bad, they're bad, aren't they? Let's be brutally honest. What's your take on Chelsea Football Club at the moment? I'm going to go straight to Knighty on this because of his past involvement with Chelsea. I'm quite interested to hear his thoughts. What are you saying, Knighty?
I just think it's a cycle that, goes round, and you get your turn. You got to maximize it, but you get your turn to shine. They've shined, in the past, European champions, which 15, 20 years ago, you would have never believed Chelsea would have been, champions of Europe and champions of the world. And it's just a patch they've got to come through, really. They've restructured the whole place. They've got to find the right methods, the right teams, the right people. And at the moment, it ain't quite clicking. But, like I said, they've got the resources and I'm sure they'll find their feet again. And like I said, it's a circle. It comes around and you just got to take it when it's your time to shine.
Mm-hmm. Curtis, what's your initial take?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a tough spot. I think now is the time, more than ever, that they have to hold their nerve. I really do, because I know you said before you don't think Potter's going to be the right man. I think me and Knight have disagreed on that. He needs results, no doubt about it. But I think 75% of them players he's got are not good enough. I think they're over the hill. I think a lot of them
Name some names. Point them out.
Okay. The centre half that they brought in, Koulibaly, not good enough. Goalkeeper Kepa, not good enough. The right back that's been there for a while that plays right in the back three sometimes, the skipper, legs have gone. Jorginho looks like he's no longer the player he was. Legs have gone. The centre forward, Havertz, not good enough. Ain't going to get the goals for them. The guy that was on loan at Crystal Palace,
Conor Gallagher,
not good enough for Chelsea. Good player, not a Chelsea player. Loftus-Cheek, another one, been there 500 years, played 20 games, not good enough for Chelsea. I've named 10 there that are not good enough. You take them 10 out and you replace them with 7 or 8 of your own signings that Potter wants. I think you can really drastically change the team. I mean, you've got players there that I'm completely forgetting about, like Ziyech, not good enough. Who's the American guy? Pulisic, not good enough. There's so many Chelsea players there that are not good enough for Chelsea Football Club, and he's inherited them all. And on the top side of that, they've then got they've got an injury list that's through the roof. Another one, Aubameyang, not just gone, not good enough for Chelsea. The list goes on and on and on. And to carry that burden is the manager, and not one of them names that I've named the manager's had any influence in bringing in into the football club.
Yeah.
So I do feel sorry for him. But on the flip side of that, with the players he does have, he needs to be doing better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a catch-22, really. He needs results. He's not an idiot. I just think Chelsea, the board, they have to hold their nerve and this sounds bad from a team who won the Champions League not long ago. They need to write this season off, and they're probably not going to get into Europe. Use it as a season to re-establish what the new manager wants to do. Pre-season, get players out, get players in. I see Chelsea is in a situation that Man United were in a few years ago when they had all this dead wood that they've just got to move on, like Mata and all of them guys. Chelsea are in the same position, and Knight is right. It's a cycle, and you've got to stay with him. You've got to at least give him, for me, he needs another 12 months, 18 months in the job if you believe he's going to be the right guy.
Yeah, and he has to scout his own players. He had a big thing at Brighton, at transfers and the handling of he had within the transfers and stuff, and his own scouts and stuff and whatever. And you've got to give him time to kind of like reconnect that with Chelsea Football Club. Like he has to kind of change it over, and whether they give him time or not, I don't know. I think they should, whether they do or not. But if you remove him from his post, who you coming in there to replace him with?
Let's dissect some of the points that you've both made. Some very, very good points, if I'm being brutally honest. Let's look at the injury list for Chelsea. So they're missing Mendy, the goalkeeper. They're missing N'Golo Kante. They're missing Broja. They're missing Reece James. They're missing Pulisic. They're missing Raheem Sterling. They're missing Ruben Loftus-Cheek. They've probably got 8 or 9 key players missing, which if you take 8 or 9 players out of any Premier League side where 7 of them are expected to start, I think they would have the similar situation.
I agree. You look at the 2 wing backs. So who's the guy who plays left wing back? The English guy?
Chilwell. He's injured as well.
Yeah, so you put Chilwell, Reece James, and Kante back in that team, it changes it.
Different team.
It's a different team.
They've had to play Chalobah at right back, which is out of position.
The biggest problem Chelsea have got is a player that can put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So you're thinking on what Curtis said, Kai Havertz being changed into a number 9 effectively. You don't think he's going to be the man to find the net for Chelsea?
No,
he hasn't been, has he? The proof's in the pudding. Has he ever got double figures yet?
Big point.
And this is a team that's won the Champions League, that's won the league, and he hasn't been up there in the goal scoring charts. He's not a striker. He's not that guy. He's like he's a drifter. He's a left winger. He's a right winger. He's a number 10. I bet he's unbelievable in training, but the end product's not there. He doesn't score enough goals for Chelsea Football Club.
In Chelsea's DNA, Chelsea has a number 9 up top. A sole player that thinks about scoring, holding the ball up, bringing others into play, getting in a box and heading and scoring and putting his body in positions that's going to make it difficult for the defenders to defend.
Ivan Toney.
Lampard they had another player, Lampard, coming in, used to pick up the scraps and he used to get 26 a season. Like this is Chelsea's DNA. They've lost that a little bit. But like I said, and Curtis knows as well, playing the cycle. It's just a cycle. Like Man United's time will come back again.
Yeah.
Let's break down some of the points that Knighty made. The recruitment of Brighton, I've said this before, for me personally, has probably been the best in recent Premier League years.
In the world.
They brought in 8 players for 58 million. Included in them is Cucurella and Ben White, which have already got their moves. If you look at some of the other players in the squad, you'd probably value them higher than those 2 players. The likes of Casido, the likes of Trossard, the likes of Minamino. These players are great players.
McAllister
just won the World Cup. He's in that list as well.
So hold on. So just on this one, James. So that Chelsea team that played Fulham last night, how many of that starting 11 get in Brighton's starting 11 right now?
It's a big question. It is a big question.
The goalkeeper doesn't. Brighton's goalkeeper's very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the midfield gets in Brighton's midfield.
It's a big point, to be honest. This is the thing, right? Now, Potter hasn't had a proper window. If it wasn't for the World Cup and going straight into this window, I think Chelsea would find themselves in a more precarious situation. Potter's got a 5-year deal. He's one of the most well-paid managers in the world. Surely now you've got to back him. You've got to give him the funds to go out and sign the players he wants. And I don't think Chelsea quite realise that that may not be marquee name after marquee name. If you look at the players he brought in at Brighton, only the hardest core of football fans would have told you about them before they joined. Their scouting has been unbelievable. Are Chelsea going to accept players coming in for 4, 5, 6, 7 million when they're used to the big names?
We want our Chelsea back. 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 We want our Chelsea back.
They're used to marquee player after marquee player. What's your take on that? And I'm going to go straight to 90 on this.
It's all about backing the manager, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's about backing the manager and, you know, giving him the funds and letting him do what he wants to do.
This is just not acceptable. I, as a fan, won't accept it.
And if it don't work, sack him. Simple. Like, you've given him the chance, but sacking him now don't make no sense because nobody there, like Curtis is saying, is his player. He hasn't had time. You can't see. Sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes it works. A manager comes in and it just all clicks. Yeah, but you very rarely find that happens. The manager usually comes in, brings 1 or 2 in that he wants to bring in, and then by one season's gone, the side's kind of, you know, the best players of the last batch that he came in on and he inherited. There's probably about three or 4 players there. The rest is his players. And that's the way I've seen it coming up, playing from even a youngster.
I think the big thing for him in the transfer window is obviously they need players in 100%, but it's more to do with who they get out.
Yeah.
You know, Chelsea for me have got a lot of players where you think, oh, yeah, good player. Like you mentioned the name Aubameyang. Yeah, player. But he's not the Aubameyang that you think he is anymore. He's not that guy. Same with Jorginho. You're thinking of him dominating the midfield in them Euros. He's not that guy. Or maybe he is that guy and he needs better players around him. I don't know. Because he's more of a facilitator in the middle of the park. But, you know, Koulibaly, player. But when you actually see him, guy's a car crash. He's not good enough. The goalkeeper, he wasn't good enough 3 years ago. So he's not good enough now either. He needs to go. I don't think both keepers are any good. You know, they've not got Kante in the team. Chelsea I think they need probably 10, 12, 15 that need to go.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
And I think that's the reason he's got a 6-year deal, because I think it's a long, long project for Chelsea. They were Man United were a few years back with all that dead wood.
I'll make you right. I think the board and the owners and all of that have given him that deal. Found the best manager who's actually, you know, recruiting the right players and stuff and whatever, and they're actually going to give him time to do what he needs to do. I can't see them taking over, buying Chelsea for so much and having to dilly-dally and whatever and this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? It don't make no sense. And they're successful businessmen. They know what you know, what to do and how to get results and stuff. So I think, like Curtis is saying, they've given him that 6-year deal. It's rough at the moment. And, you know, they'll probably give him 3 years to turn it round or whatever. And then if it's not working after that, then we'll look at...
Because, you know, if they bring someone else in, the next person they bring in have got exactly the same problems as Potter. So they're just going to be if they start getting better results, great. But they're just putting a bandage over the issue. They're not solving the issue. And I hope someone in the Chelsea board, you know, has pulled Potter in and said, hey, listen, we've got you back. Because he's under pressure. You can see he's under pressure. I hope someone in there has said, hey, listen, we brought you here. We think you're the man. So get on with the job. Do what you need to do. We're right behind you. Because he'll probably need to hear them words.
Boys, the thing is, when they brought Potter in and they agreed this deal, they probably had no idea that Chelsea would be languishing in 11th place at this time in the season. So plans can change. Plans can change. Chelsea managers in the past have lost their job for a lot less than what is going on at the moment. If you look at Roberto Di Matteo, he was sacked after winning the Champions League. Thomas Tuchel sacked after winning the Champions League. Frank Lampard sacked after getting 4th on the last day of the season after beating Wolves. So if you look at the stats,
it's a totally different Chelsea.
It doesn't read well.
It's a totally different Chelsea. The owners are different. It ain't that like relentless mentality and that ruthless mentality that they had beforehand with Roman Abramovich. You know, if it ain't happening, bam, switch, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. It ain't that anymore.
If Roman was here, he's gone, isn't he?
If Roman was here, he would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, he wouldn't have even got the job anyway, I don't think.
Nah.
But, I mean, do you think he's under pressure? Do you think he's 1 or 2 results away from losing his job? Sorry, I'm saying we don't think so, but is he?
I mean, you lose again Saturday, whenever they're playing Sunday.
Crystal Palace, they play Crystal Palace on Sunday, another London derby. If you lose 2 London derbies in a row and you're languishing in that position, I'm sure questions will be asked. I'll be brutally honest.
They probably would have been expecting much more from him at this stage. But you know what? You've got to look at the players as well. Yeah, because regardless of what we're saying, Curtis, with not good enough, they're top tier players. They're in the Premier League at Chelsea Football Club. They're top tier players and they're not delivering on the pitch. No. So you got to look at them. Do you know what I mean? I know it's down to the manager to get the best out of them and stuff and whatever. But at the end of the day, if you prepare right, and I don't believe there's any malice or anything going on within the change room, like we was talking about Tuchel and this, that, and the other, and you know, players, you know, not liking him. I don't think that's going on right now. I think he's a straight and narrow guy and whatever. And I just think they're not delivering.
I agree. I don't think they're good enough anymore, 90. Like you said, they've got a massive list of players that are not actually very good players for Chelsea Football Club, in my opinion. You know, you look at their squad, I just don't think it's very good. How many world-class players have Chelsea got in that squad? How many?
Not that. They brought in Joao Felix.
Yeah.
They probably needed a right-back and a centre mid, as well as a striker, as well as a forward player. On the back of Joao Felix joining, Todd Bowley has now stepped down from being in charge of footballing decisions, okay? Because he clearly hasn't got the footballing nous to get these transfers done and get the players that are being requested over the line. For whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. Is that a worry? Is that a worry? Should that be a worry for Graham Potter? What's your take on that?
I think it's a good thing that he's realised that he's not the man and stepped down. That's quite brave of him, I think. So hopefully he realises, you know what, I can't. This is a different business to what I'm used to. I'm going to have to get somebody in who's an actual expert in this department. So I see that as a positive.
Graham Potter clearly needs to be backed. If they've given him the contract that he has, it tells me that they're going to back him. But he must be questioning himself, because at Chelsea, once you lose the fans, things can change very dramatically. I got a clip of the fans praising Potter.
Gaffer! Best manager! Gaffer! Don't give up, still believe, bro! Make room, guys. Watch back, guys. Watch back. We got you, Gaffer. I trust you. Don't give up, Potter. You're the best manager in the world, bro. You'll win the Champions League. Go on, Potter. We believe, bro. Keep the faith.
On top of that, I've seen murmurs of fans on the other side of the spectrum. How many results, how many defeats until the crowd, the Stamford Bridge following, which have been brutally spoiled over the years for wins, for marquee signings, competitions, top of the league, Champions League. How long before the Stamford Bridge faithful, the shed end, turn on Graham Potter?
Listen, let me tell you something. What I'll be looking at if I was a Chelsea fan is who we going to take points off this season. Like, where are you going? You know, like, teams, they'll go, yeah, we're getting 3 points there, 100%. Like, don't worry, we're getting 3 points there. Like, where are you going? You can't say you're going like Brentford and that. You said you probably was thinking about that, about Fulham to an extent, newly promoted or whatever, and this, that, and the other. You ain't gone there until I'll be thinking and worried as a Chelsea fan. Where's my team going to getting 3 points?
Yeah, they're just not very good, are they? They're not a very good team at the moment. That's just the harsh reality. I wonder when the last time Fulham actually beat Chelsea was. I bet it was a good few years ago.
The scariest thing, Fulham didn't have Mitrovic yesterday.
Yeah.
20-odd years ago. I think even longer than that.
Really? Was it that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Joao Felix is on loan. There's no option to buy him should his loan be the best thing that Chelsea have done this season. He's now suspended for the next 3 games after receiving a straight red on his debut. That's going to cost Chelsea round about, I think it's 1.4 million plus his 250 grand a week wages. It's a big hit. It's a big hit. You've brought him in to increase morale. Okay. He's got sent off on his debut. How much of a blow is that to Graham Potter and Chelsea, Curtis?
Yeah, it's big. And it's one of them, like we said initially off the start, you know, where you're like, oh, God, we just can't get anything right at the minute. It's just one of those unlucky things. Because I was listening to the game on the radio on my way up to Middlesbrough last night. It sounded like he was having a really, really good game.
First half, he was on fire. He'd done some really good things.
So for him to get sent off, it's like, wow, everything's kind of going against him at the minute. João Felix is another one. I don't know how good he is. Is he any good? Me personally, I'd rather get Ivan Toney and have a focal point to my attack. But I don't know. It's just a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. I actually feel sorry for Potter. And I was listening to the radio. I was listening to Talk Sport last night. And I think it was Perry Groves that said, this is the problem. When was the last time anybody actually felt sorry for a Chelsea manager? And this is how far Chelsea have fallen, is that we're actually feeling sorry for the manager now. And I think he kind of made a good point. Should we be feeling sorry for Potter, or should he just be getting the job done? Because Tuchel, Mourinho, the big dogs that Chelsea have had, no one felt sorry for them because we knew that they were going to get the job done and they were winners. But now all of a sudden we're feeling sorry for Potter. Is that a sign of where Chelsea are at? I don't know. I thought it was a really good point.
The Chelsea need to identify a different type of player. If you look at the players they've brought in recently, they're waifs, strays, and players that have had problems or issues at their club currently. Raheem Sterling wasn't wanted by Pep. They were comfortable to let him go. Okay. You look at João Felix, who they've just brought in. It wasn't working for him at Atletico Madrid, regardless of the €120 million euros. The way Diego Simeone plays is so defensive. He's not getting the chances. He's obviously been unsettled and there's been issues there. If you look at the other players that Chelsea have signed, they don't really tick the boxes of Chelsea players. Do Chelsea need to change their recruitment strategy and start signing a different type of player? What's your take on that?
I always think, you know, I think we spoke about this the other week. When you think Chelsea, you think big, powerful, aggressive. And now I look at them and they're like what Arsenal were a few years ago. They're just weak. Everything about that team's weak. They're holding midfielder now is Jorginho. I don't think he's ever made a tackle in his life. He's a tippy-tappy player. You know, it's like when Arsenal got rid of Vieri and then all of a sudden they had I don't know what midfielders they had, but there was a massive drop-off of steel in the middle of that pitch. And I look at Chelsea, and that's all over the park. There's a massive drop-off of steel from your, you know, not going back ages, but from your John Terrys, your Drogbas, your Ballacks, you know, your Essiens. They were proper hardcore midfielders and hardcore players, and Chelsea are nowhere near that now.
If Chelsea get beat by Crystal Palace on Sunday, another London derby lost. And let's have it right. Chelsea fans see themselves superior and their club superior to the likes of Fulham and Crystal Palace. How long does it take before they pull the trigger on Graham Potter? Do you realistically think he'll still be in the job if they keep free-falling down the Premier League table in the manner that they are? I'm going to go straight to 90 on this one.
Well, I just want to bring up the Felix transfer.
Please do.
I don't know what is that? Us saying that Potter needs to bring in these players, he's been there on that transfer. When we've got to look at that and think, is that one of your players that you're bringing in? Is he actually got the rank to transfer and ask for players that he wants?
Interesting.
Do you think it is 90? It doesn't look like one of his signings, does it?
I'm trying to say. So all this time we're saying they'll give him time because, you know, he's going to recruit and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And then Felix comes in and you're just like,
yeah,
looks mad, that.
You think that
it's an ego transfer, the Felix one, isn't it? It's short term. It's look at us, we can get João Felix, but really,
But-
they didn't really
but-
need that profile of player.
Who is João Felix?
Yeah, true.
Do you think that could be a reason why Todd Bowley stepped down? Do you think there could have been something happen in the background that we're not aware of regarding over the type of player that they're bringing into Stamford Bridge?
I mean, why did you bring in Raheem Sterling?
Good point.
But the thing is, okay, so let's flip that one back. So why did you bring in Raheem Sterling? I agree. At the time, I'm like, I think that's a good signing. But Graham Potter then plays him at right wing back. So he has to carry responsibility for that. You've got Raheem Sterling, and imagine 90, you're at a club, you're an established player, you're a forward, and the new manager comes in and says, "Yeah, 90, I'm going to look at you at right wing back today." You'd be like,
Yeah, what are you doing?
"Excuse me."
Nighty, what would you say to him? How would you word that? I've got time for.
Like if I was to go back into that kind of like environment and stuff, and you've got to be a hardened character and all that, I'd have probably just looked at him and just shook my head. Like, because as much as you can have a goal and say, no, I'm not, and blah, 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 this, that, and the other, the decision lies with the manager, really, innit? So, me wanting to play, I'd have just probably looked at him and just gone, like, what? What do you mean that? And then he'll have to explain himself. And he's got already. There's a planned explanation, Curtis, with gaffers and why they do playing you here. And I had it when I was a centre forward. I was the little man off the big man, and I got to Sheffield Wednesday, and I don't know whether it's from higher up or from where I was coming from on loan at Chelsea, where I was playing right wing.
What? What the fuck?
And I'm just thinking.
But your attributes, Nighty, they could lend themselves to playing right wing, if we're being brutally honest. Little man, fast, going to get a chance. Does Raheem Sterling's attributes lend him to playing wing back?
No, but what I'm trying to say is, like, my whole upbringing was a forward. I'm a forward. Everybody knows me as a forward. Nobody knows me as a right winger. You know me as a centre forward. I'm a centre forward. I play off the big man. I'm a centre forward. And then you get there and he's like, right wing, yeah. You're gonna. Do you know what I mean? And you're just like,
yeah.
Does Sterling's attributes lend himself to being a wing back?
Yeah, he's got all the attributes. He's fit. He can run. He's got all the attributes, but he's not a right wing back.
Come on.
He has got all the attributes. Sterling's got all the attributes for every position.
Have you ever seen him make a tackle?
Nope.
No.
Surely that key attribute of playing wing back should be tackling, no?
That's one that Graham Potter's got to. He's got to own that. And like you said, is he getting the best out of the players that he's actually got available? And that ultimately is your job as a manager.
Yep.
And he's not. Is the honest answer? He's not. If they get beat by Palace, he could go.
I agree. Honestly, I've been championing Potter for ages, boys. I'm a massive fan of him. And as Curtis said, I love to see British coaches getting the big jobs. But Chelsea managers have lost their job for a lot less. Look at Sarri.
Yeah. Listen, I personally, like we've just gone over, I would not be getting rid of him. I'd give him the confidence to have a long-term plan. But you can't be getting beat by Fulham and then Palace when you're the Chelsea manager.
Completely agree.
He could be gone.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about some of the news that we saw in the papers recently. Jermaine Pennant adds his name to a long list of professional footballers who have retired, who have then become bankrupt. No one likes to see it, regardless of tax reasons, regardless of whatever the case may be with Jermaine. It's not something that I enjoy reading about. Why, in this day and age, is it still happening to top-tier players? When they retire, their money is gone. Gone. You two have both had very good careers, so I'm hoping you can shed some light on this issue. What's your take on it, Curtis Woodhouse?
I think it's... I think a lot of players that come up and become professional players are from deprived areas, difficult backgrounds, not as educated possibly as what they should be. And then all of a sudden you get thrust into limelight and money. And you make bad decisions. And then once it's all over, you've probably had 10 years of living that high life, knowing that your wages come in the week after. And then once it's all over, all of a sudden it all stops. I don't know the circumstances to Jermaine Pennant, but I think a lot of it is the fault of the player. You have to take control of your own career, your own finances. But a lot of us are young and we don't know any better. You know, I'm on that list. I was declared bankrupt through to boxing, really. Nothing to do with my football, really. I retired at 26. I was bankrupt at 32. And it was for not paying tax. So I didn't fill in any of my tax returns for years. And then I got some guy. So I was at one of my fights and I just got off the scales. I just weighed in, so I'm feeling terrible. This guy's come up to me like with a bit of paper. I'm thinking, wants an autograph, drop me out, mate. So he's come over to me, and I thought he was like going to say, "Could you sign this, Curtis?" And it's actually serving me bankruptcy papers.
I'm in danger.
And I was like fighting the day after. It was actually the day before I boxed Willie Limon for the British and Commonwealth titles.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I'm on that list. So I'm probably, good to speak to about it. And it's just through ignorance, really, and burying your head in the sand and not really, getting advice on finances, but not really listening and just being young, living fast and spending more than what you're earning, really.
Nighty, what's your take on it? As someone that's always been a careful planner and watches the pennies, what's your take on Jermaine's situation?
Who, me? Watch the pennies.
I've been a bit sarcastic there, Nighty, to be honest.
Can I just say on that, though? Being bankrupt
doesn't mean your skin.
Yeah, don't mean your skin.
I get that.
When I was when I got declared bankrupt, I got a bill. I got a tax bill for I think it was 158 grand. So I think they gave me like 28 days to pay it. So I'm like, unless you want me to go 15 years in jail for a bank robbery, I can't pay that money. So we ducked and dived for a little bit, and I think I wasn't allowed more than £1,200 in my bank account without explaining where it came from. So, and I was only bankrupt for a year. I went in like a voluntary bankruptcy, I think it was called, and then after them took 12 months, and they said like I'm not allowed anything on credit. I don't have anything on credit anyway. Yeah. Everything I've got, I've kind of paid for, so it didn't actually affect my life that much. And I was in it for 12 months, and then I was out. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know Jermaine's situation. But
did they write the debt off, Curtis? Did they write the 158k off?
Yeah, because I just said I got no ways of paying it,
and it hasn't affected you in any way.
No, none whatsoever.
Interesting. Nighty, what's your take on it? What's your take on it, mate?
It's just like Curtis is saying. I can say exactly what he's saying, but just in my way of seeing it, and it's knowing money, handling money. Do you know what I mean? Structuring all the bills you've got to the wage that you've got coming in. Yeah. And not going over that and not getting, going underneath it and drowning. You've got to stay in between. They can't be like that. You can't live the high life and be spending 12 grand out in a night and you only get 12 grand a month.
Makes sense.
It doesn't. I mean, and as stupid as that sounds, because you're like, well, obviously you can't. The footballers do it. Even now, you'd think some footballers, 150 grand a week, but they're probably living a multi-millionaire's lifestyle, which is outspending what they're getting.
Well, when I've been a footballer, I've gone out with like £1,000 in my pocket and had to borrow 20 quid to get a taxi home.
I'm telling you.
So, and I'm like, how can you spend £1,000 on a night out? I couldn't even do that now if I tried my hardest.
This brings me to my next question. What's been your worst purchase when you were absolutely having it? Yeah. What do you look back now and go, why on earth did I do that?
I know mine. Mine's an easy one. So when I just signed for Birmingham, I bought a new car. I bought a brand new Lexus, one of them 2-litre injection things. And I didn't know whether to get it in black or silver. So the black one had like the cream leather. It was I used to get pulled like every 30 meters I drove, I'd be getting pulled. So and the silver one was silver with like black leather interior. So I didn't know which one to get. So I just bought them both. Just to be a dickhead. And I had like 2 brand new cars like that. And I'm like, what an idiot. I look back now like, just what an idiot.
See, if you would have probably gone to a leasing company, they probably would have just gave you the car to be associated with you at that point.
Yeah, 100%.
You haven't got that noose and that awareness of money, I guess, at the time, and you want to be really big, you know what? It's just an endless trap, isn't it?
I was 19. I was having it.
90. Now you're giving this some serious thought. What?
Yeah.
What's been your worst purchase, mate?
My worst purchase. I wouldn't say a worst purchase because I mean, I would quite think if it was like a massive, like house price, like kind of purchase. But purchases, I'd say, is like cars.
Yeah.
Probably the most dumbest thing you can do is cars. Absolute foolishness they are.
Tell us about your whips. Tell us what you bought.
Flipping out. I had a I started off, I had a Polo. First car ever got. 17 years old, passed my test, I had a Polo. I used to call it was a silver one. Yeah. I thought I was the nuts. Yeah. Then Jermaine Defoe got the C-Class just came out. The new C-Class, the hatchback one though, just came out like 2001. I said, I had the Polo about what? 6 months. I said, fuck that. You can't have that car and I can't have it. I'm going to get that car tomorrow. So I went in there, obviously priced it up, ordered it up, told them what I wanted and all that. And then within a bit, they had the car for me a few months later. Then after that, I can tell you all my cars, mate. Then after that, I had like a CLK. I went to the longer version. This is like all in between flipping about 5 seasons.
Did you buy them as well, 90?
Yeah.
So you must have lost a fortune on when you go to sell them back or trade them in.
The first few I bought, and then I realised I was like, it was ripping the arse.
Yeah.
But then you go to like higher purchase, and it's like, fucking hell, I've got to pay this fucking £565 bill now again. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, you can't get out of it. There's no win, so there's no point. You lose either or.
Yeah. Cars are the devil, aren't they? I don't know anyone that owns a car anymore.
By the time you finish paying off the car's worth fuck all.
Yeah.
And then you buy a new car, you take it off the showroom floor, and it's lost 15 grand.
This is bullshit.
But the thing is, though, we're speaking now as 40-year-old men.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to talk to our 19-year-old version of ourselves.
No chance.
So, I think, regarding money, honestly, if I think about the amount of money I've spunked, oh God, I'd be sick. But
sorry, go on, Curtis. Go on, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
But part of that is the experience of enjoying your life as a young man as well. So you can't wish it all away. I had, when I said I went out with £1,000 loads of times and came back with no money, I had a great night. Yeah. So you don't want to trade it all in, but like I said, the youth is wasted on the young.
I mean, I bought a Porsche Jeep, and it was so much on petrol that I was thinking, fucking hell, like every minute I had to, and it wasn't no little distances I was going to training. So I said, fuck this. I went into like my local, I lived around Ascot at that time. Went into my local dealership, and I saw a 106 Peugeot. Yeah. And then like I went into some store. It had like number plates and like signs for the back. So it had a sign saying my other car is a Porsche. So I bought the sign, stuck it in the back of the window, and drove to training the next morning. And the lads thought it was like great banter, like, because obviously is a Porsche. I've got a Porsche Jeep, but I'm driving the 106 Peugeot, fucking G-Reg, like 0.1 litre. Like, getting into training and that, fucking, mate, just stupidness. But when I'm thinking about it, why get the Porsche? If you've got to go and buy another car to go and drive, because that Porsche is taking up 50 quid worth of flipping petrol.
What are the circumstances of Jermaine Pennant? I've not seen anything.
I don't know. I just think I saw a little interview that he gave, and he wasn't blaming anyone really. He was he was just said, basically himself. He's bad decisions, bad hangers on, and you know how it is already. Like Curtis, like, do you know what I mean?
I think the statistics of ex-sportsmen that go bankrupt or get divorced within 5 years of retirement would absolutely blow your mind. It is high.
It's about 90%.
It's huge. Yeah.
There was a time when people were allowed in the training ground. You had all kinds of vultures loitering around the players, offering them deals to invest in films, deals for properties. I'm led to believe that a lot of this is being cleaned up, okay, in terms of who has access through the club to the players, etc. Why is there not more time to be taken to educate players in finances?
I'm not being funny. What the fuck is going on?
Because that's not their game. Their game is to win football matches and bring trophies into the club and make the club, their history and bloodline and everything great. I know you're going to say it's kind of looking after your investment and the people that you employ.
Yes.
But they ain't got time for that.
And I think as well, to be fair to the football clubs, they do a hell of a lot more. They do try and look after players. But again, how much advice did you listen to at 18, 19, 20 when you've got loads of money in the bank? And some old geezer is trying to tell you how to save, because when you get to 40, you might have no money. You're like, mate, drop me out. I'm going to a strip club tonight and I'm dropping 20 G's. Some of these young like teenagers are on 40, 50 grand a week. So the clubs can do the best that they possibly can, but ultimately it lies with the individual, and every individual is different. I'm from a council estate, never had a pot to piss in. So when I started earning money, everything I ever wanted as a kid that I've seen other people have, like trainers, nice jeans, nice top, I'm like, I'm having it. And no one's going to tell me to save for when I'm 40 years of age. I might never make it to 40. I'm spending it all now. That was my mindset.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
Contrary to what some of my Twitter followers think, I get called a fat Tory quite a bit, and I'm not fat and I'm not a Tory. I too am from a council estate. I just throw my voice a little bit more affluently, so they don't often spot me. 90, Woodhouse. Could this season, see some really big Premier League teams with history, big fan bases, being relegated into the Championship? I'm just having a look at the bottom four now, okay? So we're looking at the bottom four. 20th place, Southampton. 19th place, Wolves. 18th place, Everton. 17th place, West Ham. It's not reading well for these clubs if you look at it. They've all four of the clubs mentioned by West Ham only got 3 wins in 18. West Ham with 4. Could it be a time for a big scout to exit the Premier League? What's your thoughts on the relegation dogfight? 18 games gone in the Premier League.
Oh, by the way, Nathan Jones, by the way, he is hanging on at Southampton. He's hanging on by a thread. Everton are the ones I look at and I think, because they're a big, big club. Night you'll know, living around the area. Everton are a big club.
Massive.
If Everton was to go down, they'd be the biggest club to go down in Premier League history, I think.
Yeah, in years. Yeah, in history.
Big shout.
History.
Big shout.
Everton are a monster club.
Especially with the new ground. Sorry, Light. Especially with the new ground being built as well.
Yeah. But again, you look at the Everton team, it's not very good. It maybe is one of the worst 3 teams in the league.
90. What's your take?
Jay, if you don't actually, even if you passed up here and gone to a game, if you're a away fan or whatever, you still don't get the grips of how big that club is.
Yeah.
Like, and it's only because they're overshadowed by a bigger club, as in Liverpool. Mate, they are huge.
But I think that's what makes the Everton fans more passionate. Because of Liverpool. Yeah. They're like the underdogs, and they've always, like we spoke about last week, about the Everton's DNA. If you're going to Everton as a manager, you have to have some sort of grit and fight, because that's what that football club is. Crash, bang, wallop. Let's have it. We've got Liverpool over the park that are winning everything. We're down here to them. Let's get in their faces, up their nostrils. Let's have a fight. And Everton have gone away from that DNA. Yeah. But Everton are a huge club.
Should they be worried? Should they be genuinely concerned that they could be dropping into the Championship this season?
Yeah. I mean, they skin of their teeth last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they've got a manager with no experience of a relegation fight whatsoever. Everton are in trouble. They haven't got a goal scorer. Dominic Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit. They can't put the ball in the back of the net. They can't keep clean sheets. Everton are in big trouble.
As much as I want, them to do well, because I know Lampard, I know Ashley Cole, and they're behind the scenes. As much as I want them to do well, and every week I'm like flipping, they've got so and so Southampton or whatever. They must get 3 points. They're at home and blah blah blah. They're struggling
big time.
And like we say, the players they've got in the club are not fit match to the DNA. When you go into a club, you know already how Arsenal are. They try to do this different kind of, it don't work. Arsenal have been that Overmars kind of way, and who else have we had on the wings? Overmars, Perez. We've been that way. Now we've got Saka and we've got Martinelli. It might not be exactly the same players, but how you're playing needs to fit. Wenger set away in there. You can't just come and destructure it and go.
When you say about certain players, he's a Man United player.
Yeah,
he's an Everton player, and you instantly know what you mean by that. He's an Arsenal player.
Yeah,
he's a Barcelona player.
Yeah,
you know what you mean.
Yep, and Everton need that. They need that. They need a big dunk up there, which is their Calvert-Lewin, but like you said, can't stay fit.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? They need people whipping balls into the box, and you know what I mean? 2 defenders at the back that's gritty and, put their life on the line and their head to tackle a ball.
100%. Everton should have a rule where for home games, when you go out on the pitch, you're not allowed to wear molds, no matter how hard that you got to wear studs.
Yeah.
Imagine Peter Reid walking out in the middle of the park with molds on.
No chance.
It's just not happening.
No.
Big dunk coming out of his molds on.
Yeah, but Everton are that team, and I, like we said the last week, when Everton were on it back in the day under Moisey, when they had that 4-4-2, I used to really like watching them play, because they were like I said, they were in your face, up your nostrils. They were just horrible.
At home as well, where you heard the fans, and the fans was going crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they still had quality. They had KO, they had PNR. Remember PNR?
Yeah,
they had quality as well. But yeah, they were a team. balls coming in from left back from Baines.
Yeah.
Coleman at the time.
Yeah.
They were Everton for me. I used to really like watching them play.
No doubt, when Lampard joined, the fans would have had aspirations, however how small, they would have had aspirations of the Howard Kendall days. That little glimpse of hope that they could close the gap on Liverpool, being such a big footballing city. How long is it until the Everton board pull the trigger on Frank Lampard? Curtis Woodhouse, what's your take?
Well, I think with someone like Sean Dyche sat there without a job, whose CV pisses all over Frank Lampard's, I don't think Frank's got long. I'd be shocked if Lampard don't get results. I'd be shocked if he sees February.
Nice.
Sean Dyche, for me, is an Everton manager. And I think if he goes, they stay up. I think if Lampard stays, I think it's less than 50-50 that Everton stay up.
No, I know you've got history with the boys there, and so it puts it a little bit precarious, but what's your take on it?
It's a results business, isn't it? At the end of the day, as much as you want to pattern it up and patch it and do all of that, it's actually a results business. And if you ain't getting the results, you could come off the back of a 10 flipping without a defeat, 6 wins, 4 draws, and then lose 5 in a row, and you just be thinking in the back of your head, oh my God. It's a results business, mate. So if you're not getting the results, your head's kind of on the line. You're kind of on a chopping board. You're tinkering with it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's bad leadership if the people at Everton haven't already secretly reached out to Sean Dyche. I think when you're in that position, you have to have a plan B. You have to, surely.
Who out of the clubs that we've mentioned, or any other club that you want to stick into that box, who goes down this year? Who will be exiting the Premier League and have a rebuild season with a massive wage bill next season? Who's it going to be?
I think Southampton will go. Who else was down there, James?
Everton, Bournemouth are not far. West Ham.
I think Southampton, Bournemouth. Again, he's going to be going soon, the Bournemouth manager.
Nottingham Forest and Leeds.
He's going to be going.
Nottingham Forest, Leeds and Leicester, they're not too far to be dragged in either.
I think Forest will get out of it because I think Forest have got goals in the team and I think they're going to strengthen again. I think Leeds will get out of it. I think Everton are going to go. Really? Unless they change the manager.
So you're free. Give me your free. Let's recap your free, Curtis.
So I think finishing bottom will be Bournemouth. Second from bottom, Southampton. Third from bottom, going down on the last day of the season, will be Everton.
Right.
I think Forest will go down. I think Bournemouth will go down. And I think Southampton will go down. I think them three are struggling, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. I think Forest will stay up because I think Forest can score goals. I've seen Forest play a few times. They can score.
Everton have been there a few times. They last 6 games of the season and everyone's bunched up around each other. They've got the experience of doing this. Do you know what I mean? Staying, trying to, clinch onto their, status of a Premier League football club.
I just don't see Everton with any. Who's getting Everton out of trouble?
We said that last year as well. I said that last year. But people come back from injuries.
Yeah.
They lift the squad again. With that, it's like a new signing sometimes. Do you know what I mean? And that's what happened last season as well. Calvert-Lewin came back for a couple of games and whatever, lifted the place. I think he tucked or whatever, or was causing a bit of a, problem up front to where, things will happen for other people around him. I think Everton will be. I think Everton they're gonna struggle, and it's gonna be probably end the season job again. But I think they'll stay up, and I think the three that I said will go down.
Interesting.
It's going to be interesting. The bottom end of the table is almost as compelling as a title race at the moment.
Are we having a bet on this, Nighty? I want to have a bet with you.
Yeah, I'll have a bet with you.
I'm going to be the adjudicator on this bet. What sort of figures are we talking here?
Just a friendly one.
No problem. Who's going where?
So I think, but you got to get the exact three right. No, okay. I think Everton will go down. You think they'll stay up?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go one on that then. Straight
Right.
bet.
The bet is strictly on Everton up or down. The bet's Everton up, Everton down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. All right, lovely. Gentlemen, I've got to say I thoroughly enjoyed your company today. Like I mentioned, I'm loving the get up. I too need to order myself a Darth Vader hoodie. It's having it. It's
not a hoodie. It's a snoodie, bruv. It's a big, long snoodie.
Have you got? Are you wearing underwear under that, or is it just free? You're just out here, yeah?
Like a big
dangling.
Like
dangling.
Like a snoodie kilt.
Hey.
It looks like something Kanye West would wear out as a garment.
Well, you know how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I do. No, I genuinely do. Bougie. I think that's a word we would describe. The kids would use bougie or bougie.
Bougie.
Bougie. On that note, gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure. Curtis, I've got to say, you're looking very well. Your head has definitely shrunken a few inches. Keep it up.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of the progress you're making.
I'm back on it. So just in the groups now, this last week, the groups we got, it starts Monday. Everyone gets weighed in the following Monday. So next time we're on, I'll give you an update of how much everybody's lost as a team. But it's big. The numbers are big.
Don't try to detract. I don't care about what everyone else has lost. I want to know what you've lost. Don't try to detract.
Okay. Well, I know I'm in a good place. I can feel it when I wake up.
I've lost 6 pounds.
Good.
In what is it? 2.5 weeks.
Good. Hey, listen, I woke up. I weighed myself last Monday. I'm 5'6", and I was 16 stone 5. It's not good enough. Like I always say, I lost my dad at 51 years of age. I'm 42. I'm 43 in a few weeks. So I'm creeping up to that age where being as heavy as I am, as small as I am, puts me in that little bit of a danger zone. So I want to make sure I look after myself and be around a little bit longer for my family.
You're in the human relegation zone.
I am. I am.
He's in Everton. You're doing Everton right now.
No, it's Everton Woodhouse.
But you know what? I've gone into the transfer market. I've recruited well. I got to sell some water.
100%.
And on the way out, I've sold a few of these.
In fact, he's got the chocolate sitting there. Just kills me. Absolutely kills me. Gentlemen, as always, I've really, really enjoyed your company. You know, I love you both like brothers. And I look forward to the next instalment of Not For The News here on Pitch Football. Just to say, if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, please take time to download our football app, Pitch Footy, for the latest merch giveaways, competition, fan debates, news, you name it, we've got it on there. And do check out the Spotify podcast for the adult version of the show to listen to on your travels. Nighty, Woodchuck, thank you very much.
Nice one, boys.
Cheers, Dad.